Hey Self-Care Squad, welcome back to Self-Care with Tika. I'm your host, Karina Emile Joseph, mental health professional, well-being strategist, and founder and CEO of Citadel Counseling Services. Now we all know self-care is very important when it comes to our peace of mind, the way we love ourselves, the way we carry ourselves. What about other people? How do we care not just for ourselves, but how do we extend that love when it comes to other people? Well, today I'm not alone. I'm very excited to be introducing you my special guest, where we'll be talking about our relationships, self-care with ourselves, how do we care for other people. She's an expert in her own field. She's a licensed marriage and family therapist, specializing in marriage and couples therapy. She's all things relationships. So, ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome my good friend, Miss Sandra Gordon.
Thank you so much for the warm welcome, Corinne. I am so excited to be here.
I am so happy you're here.
It's about time, girl.
It's about time.
It is about time.
See, remember I said at the very beginning, I'm surrounded by a lot of professional, smart people who are expert in their own field. So my girl over here, she loves relationships. I don't. But she loves relationships. So when I was thinking of this topic, of course, you were the first person I thought of.
When you're right, you're right.
There you go. So, Sandra, before we get into the beautiful questions, you want to introduce yourself, tell the people who you are, what you do, what your practice is all about, and then we're going to get to the fun stuff. How about that?
Sounds like a plan.
All right.
Okay. Hi, so my name is Sandra Gordon. I am a licensed marriage and family therapist, like Corinne had mentioned, and I specialize in marriage and couples therapy. So my practice consists mostly of helping couples navigate difficulties with communication, intimacy, trust, and affair repair and recovery.
I always love to ask my guests the first question. When you hear the word self-care, what is self-care to you, and how does that transition into our relationships?
I think that's an excellent question. So when we talk about self-care is just that. It's caring for us, caring for ourselves, and how do we best optimize this when in a relationship? And so what that means is, how do I care for me, and how do I care for you, and how do we care for each other while we're together? So one of the ways in which we embody, or the ways in which we can create self-care in an intimate setting, in an intimate relationship, is just remembering, hey, one of the things that I can do to care for me is have a relationship where my needs are met and my partner's needs are met. What does that look like in practical terms? What it means is, let's lean into vulnerability, because it's only in the vulnerability do my partner have access to me, and do I have access to my partner? And so when we think of self-care, it truly is about you, me, and us.
Wow. I am so inspired. So, and speaking of vulnerability, right? Because we talked about how it's important to be vulnerable when it comes to other people and allowing other people to be part of our space. We have to learn to be vulnerable, right? How can we be vulnerable?
So let's scale back a little bit. So vulnerability is absolutely essential in intimate relationships. And so when we talk about, marriage or engagement, or, any relationship where it's the two of us locked in, right? There has to be a sense of safety, a sense of security, a sense of, this is a part of me that I want my partner to have access to, and this is a part of my partner that only I get access to. And so creating a space where we can do that and being open to do that. And so when we talk about self-care, are we truly engaging in self-care if there's parts of us that's hidden?
Okay.
Right? And so the answer would be no, because it would be more, or it would feel more like a surface relationship, because the vulnerable parts of me, my partner doesn't get to see. But those same vulnerable parts that my partner doesn't get to see, and perhaps I don't get to see of my partner, those are the parts that enrich the relationship, right? And so self-care means I take the steps to being vulnerable with you, because it's essential to us. How do we do that? So One of the ways in which I help couples create that safety that's needed before you can be vulnerable is to just do like a check-in. So where am I with my partner? Do I feel safe enough to disclose, right? And safe enough to disclose the parts of me that I myself might not feel comfortable with, or I myself might carry shame about, right? Or that I might be hypersensitive about. How can I create that safety so that we can go there?
Yeah.
How do we do this? So, what do I really need in this relationship?
What do I need in this relationship?
What do I really need in this relationship?
Wow. Okay. So what do I really need in this relationship?
For some people, that could be, and this depends based on your attachment needs. That's another conversation.
That's a whole nother podcast.
Right? but for some people, it might be in this relationship, I need reassurance because perhaps in other relationships, I mightn't have had that reassurance. And so it goes a long way to hear, hey, I'm not going anywhere. Or when we get into a disagreement, I just need some space to just take time for self, but we're still good. And being vulnerable is saying that. Because sometimes, well, not even because sometimes, usually it's more acceptable to show on the outside at least the strong emotions, right? And so like anger, like that's more of a socially acceptable emotion because you're not placed in a vulnerable position, right? And so I could say, oh, you work too much, you're never home. And I'm still telling you what the issues are, but really what's underneath that is, I miss you.
Yeah.
I wish you would spend more time with us.
Wow.
But that's vulnerability. And when I go there, there is a risk that you might say, I don't want to be here. And that's why I stay out. And so when we talk about vulnerability and self-care, no. Like we're talking about how do we really care for self? And caring for self means I get to have needs and you get to have needs and we get to figure out how to meet this for each other. And so, when we think of self-care, one of the things I think about vulnerability.
Wow. And that's deep because not everybody is open to let someone else to be part of their space, right? So I'm assuming what I want to ask is how ready do we have to be? Do we always have to feel ready in order for us to be vulnerable or to allow other people to show that part of us that we are hiding from the world or them?
Yeah. So it's easier said than done, right? Because and I had a session yesterday and with one of my couples, and I was saying, listen, it's no fun when it's just a party of one. And so if I am being open and I'm being vulnerable with you, and I'll say not even just in intimate relationships, even in friendships, right? If so, this is like pretty general, just in all like intimate relationships where we're sharing.
Yeah.
So if I'm being vulnerable and I'm telling you, hey, these are my fears and these are the things that I'm not so secure about, or the things that make me feel a little bit uneasy, and I'm like sharing all of that.
Yeah.
And it's not being reciprocated, then the normal human reaction is, okay, I need to pull back.
Yeah. I ain't gonna let you hurt me.
Okay, I feel exposed. I'm here sharing. You know
Yeah.
all of me. You know all of my business, and I don't know any of yours. And so it's not an easy thing to do, to go out and go on the ledge and take that risk. And it's not, but it's necessary if we really are gonna have an intimate relationship. I'm talking about a relationship where I see you, right? And so when we say intimacy, intimacy, like,
oh, say it again. Say
Okay.
it again. Intimacy.
yeah, intimacy is really intimacy.
Yeah.
Like I want you to see me, and you would like to be seen as well. And then that's when we really have a connection. That's when we're really caring for self. That's when you're caring for me and I'm caring for you, and we locked in, right? And so is it easy? Hell no, it's not easy because we've had past experiences, and sometimes when you share parts of you and the other person doesn't respond in the way that you would have liked, it makes you a little bit shy and a little bit more apprehensive to do it again. But that doesn't mean that we don't do it again. It just means, hey, when I shared this thing and this thing that happened to me in my past, when you responded that way, and I'm not saying that that was your intention, but when you responded that way, it made me, something didn't feel right. I felt judged. And when I feel judged, I just don't want to open up.
Wow. And I'm hearing a lot of healthy communication when it comes to these things. Because the psychology of wording, because like you mentioned earlier, you're never home. I've been doing this all by myself versus I miss you. That's hard.
Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah.
It is. When we talk about vulnerability, we're really being vulnerable. And then when you think of it, if you can't be vulnerable with your partner, who are you going to be vulnerable with?
Oh, that's true. That is so true.
And I'll tell you another thing. Girl, I am not going to be vulnerable with nobody else. Like, I ain't doing this again. We're not doing this again.
No, you stuck with us.
We're not doing this again.
I do not have time to know what your favorite color is.
Listen, okay. And you asking me what I bring to the table?
Oh my gosh, let's not go there.
Okay.
I am the table.
Okay.
Okay, let's not. Yeah.
And what do your table need, honey? Okay.
What do you need? Okay.
And so, taking that risk, even when it's hard, how do we take that risk? Well, in order for me to be vulnerable with you, I need to know that you're going to be safe and you're going to be gentle with my vulnerabilities. It's not something where there's I don't need there to be any fixing it, right?
Yeah.
It's just, I need a friend.
Yeah.
I want to be able to talk to you and to feel like you hear me, to feel like what it is I'm saying matters. Because if we have those things, then we have the room and the space to start the conversations where, hey, you know what? Yeah, I could tell my partner something because I won't feel judged. I could tell my partner something because when I share this with you, I won't hear this from your sister, your mama, and the village people.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
And so creating the space so that we can do it because it's necessary. And let me tell you why it's necessary. We don't always necessarily think about vulnerability as like an essential part of relationships.
Yeah.
But it is. It is the thing that differentiates superficial relationships from more intimate relationships. When we share, I'm talking about when we share life, like when we share, hey, what's going on with work, what's going on with my friends, what's going on with the career, the kids if we have any, hell, the dog. Like,
not the dog.
The dog, okay? Like when we share life, when we share, these are opportunities for us to touch, to connect, to get to know each other better, and to feel like, hey, I'm invested in you, you're invested in me, and we have something special.
Yeah.
That's how we create intimacy. It's not even, that's how we create a space where we can be vulnerable.
Right.
It's by just planting these seeds. And because we're human, if for some reason you don't respond in a way that makes your partner feel safe, okay, you didn't do the best in that moment. Come back and repair.
Yeah.
Repair means, listen, I'm sorry that I responded that way. I'm sorry that I reacted that way. It wasn't my intention to not make you feel heard or seen. What do you need? How can I show up for you? That's how we create space for vulnerability.
And it sounds like, that's something we have to, it takes time to do. It's not I just met this person yesterday and all of a sudden I'm sharing everything about my life, right? I don't think anybody would feel safe just by, I just met you. There's no way I'm going to tell. I don't even know. I don't want to tell you what school I went to. You might want to Google that, right?
Yeah.
So, and what I'm hearing is it's important to take time to build that relationship, that vulnerability. And what about those who are single? Or let's talk about friendship actually before we get to the single. How can we be vulnerable with our friends? People we call friends, of course, right?
Baby steps.
Baby steps.
So give little parts and see how it's handled.
Oh, say that again.
Give little parts
and see how it's
handled. Because this is how we create trust. This is how we create, and this is how we curate a space where, okay, we're friends. So let me tell you and let me share a little bit part of me, and then let me see how you handle that. Let me see how you navigate that. Because if you navigate it well, then what that tells me is I'm safe to share with Corinne. Corinne sees me. Corinne doesn't judge me. Corinne is a friend. And alternatively, if I share a part of me that's, dear, maybe something that I'm struggling with. Let's say maybe I have traction alopecia somewhere. Knock on wood.
I mean, we talk about our thyroids all the time.
Okay, Chad, look here. Okay. Listen, okay, you would see me trying to grow my edges back. Why do you think I got braids? But let's say I share something that's really vulnerable for me, right? Because vulnerability differ. Like, we all have our touch points. Somebody might be vulnerable about one thing, and you might not view it as a big thing, but that's not how you show up for the person, right? So if this is something that matters to you, then I'm going to be delicate with that.
Yeah.
So that, hey, Corinne, like, I'm not callous with the things that are precious to you.
Yeah.
And then we go from there. So then now we have these like emotional deposits, right? Where we're building up, and like with savings, like you add and you add and you add. And then if someday a withdrawal has to be made, there's still enough of a balance so that you're not bankrupt. And so the same thing happens with like the vulnerability, right? And creating like that space where I'm going to share with you.
See how you handle
it. If you handle me gently, and if you handle me with care, then that tells me I am safe with you and I can share more of me with you.
Okay.
Right? And so if not, then I am going to pull back because, just basic evolution is self-preservation, and I will preserve and I will protect and I will defend because that's how I stay safe.
Yeah.
And so
I love that. I love the way small little deposit, and that's something that can be translated in any kind of relationship. Friendship, family members, and all of that, because we know how sacred that is. Yeah. And I want to ask you, how important is therapy when it comes to being vulnerable? Or, I heard this saying as, when we say we love somebody, whether it's a friend or a couple, not couple, or a spouse, or whatever the title might be, we tend to put ourselves, either we come good out of it or maybe nothing at all, right? So how do we continue to, what I'm trying to say is, what if I get hurt? What happened when you were safe with me? I felt safe with you at the beginning, and now friendship ends all the time, marriages end all the time, relationship ends all the time. How do we handle that?
Okay, so this is a two-part thing. Let me separate them just so that we can kind of flesh it out a little bit. So I have couples, and I work on, one of the things that I work with is helping couples deepen intimacy, right? And even within the relationship, so we have our history together. So from the inception of this relationship, there's been some things that might have occurred that created a distance, right? I call it emotional wounds. And so there's some things that created emotional wounds that now has informed how I move and how I interact with you and how I'm protective of me not sharing parts of you. There's that. And then there is all of these other, out here tried me, and so I'm not going to share parts of me because I've been hurt. And unless you into that, like
into getting hurt, no.
Okay, no. Listen, there's some kinks out here, right? But unless like you into that, like nobody wants to be hurt. That is painful. That is painful. And so we want to avoid that at all costs. But let's say we're talking about within the relationship, right? So maybe something happened and I felt like you weren't gentle with what I needed, right? And so now I'm not going there with you. Fair enough. Because so then we start with, okay, let's look at when this started. When was the shift where I no longer wanted to be vulnerable? Right?
Keeping track.
What happened? Because we can't, listen, we always need a starting point.
Yeah.
You can't Google it, listen, I need your destination right here to tell you and to give you instructions on how to get to where you want to go. And so what happened? Where was the place where this injury occurred, right? And so let's talk about it so we can see, actually, when I shared this with you and you responded this way, this is how it landed for me. You might have not even known that was how it landed. Like, you didn't know, right? And so, but I felt it. And I felt that shift in me. And as a result, I'm no longer vulnerable with you. And so having that conversation so that you now know, hey, I'm sorry that I didn't show up. I didn't know you needed me to show up for you in that way. And so at least we're clarifying the difference with, hey, I'm not showing up for you versus I just didn't know you needed me to show up for you in that way. And I'm sorry that I didn't. We could fix that. That's a place for us to go, right? And so just being open enough to have the conversation, and we can fix it. Because, in all honesty, if there is the skill, if there is the know-how, if there is the desire, there is nothing you can't fix.
Wow. I love that.
but sometimes you just don't know.
The desire, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so let's start there. Now, if we're talking about things that predate the relationship, right? Because maybe every boyfriend I might have had was a philanderer, a cheater, a slower.
There's a pattern. Okay. Is that what I'm hearing?
Right. And there's a pattern. And so it's not like I'm making this up, right? Because, sometimes things happen to people and we don't know.
Yeah.
And because we don't know, we make judgments on why they're operating that way. So let's say that the trauma or there's things that happened before this relationship, things that predate this relationship, that are very real for me. Let's say maybe every intimate relationship I had, my partner cheated, or there was infidelity, or there was an affair, or a breach of our emotional connection somehow. Then that's something that I'm bringing with me, unless I sort through it and I process it and I work through it. But for the most part, it'll be something that's like it's a sore subject for me. And so with you not knowing that history of mine, you're going to respond based on what you're seeing on the outside, right? And not what you're seeing on the inside. Because like even something as simple as, let's say every time,
the phone.
Every time you and I, or I'm in your presence, wife, girlfriend, whatever, child, and you have your phone and it's facing down. If I have a history of infidelity occurring in my previous relationships, that's triggering for me.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily know that I have that as a history.
Yeah.
But that in itself is triggering, because what's going through my mind is, the last time my boyfriends or my ex-husband or whomever did that was an indication, or that was accompanied by this behavior. Them, doing some sketchy stuff, going unaccounted for, having some little secretive conversations. And so for me, that signals, hey, I can't trust you. I can't be vulnerable with you. I can't give you access to me because this thing is happening. Now, that's how I'm viewing it.
Yeah.
For you, it might just be, I am turning my phone face down because I want to give you my undivided attention.
Amen to that.
I am turning my phone face down because you are the most important thing to me right now, and everything can be on hold.
Yeah.
But you see how the difference in how we're viewing this same action can cause us to have issues, because then now you're thinking, hey, I'm being open, I'm being vulnerable, I am giving you myself, and you're not responding well to that.
Wow. And it kind of go right back to communication. And I love, like so many times we've lost great friendships.
Yes.
Great, some good relationships because we can't either get over our triggers, or there seems to be a lack of communication.
Yeah.
Like if something is going on, I assume that you should know this by now because we've been together this long, or we've been friends for this long. You should know I needed you when when you didn't show up. And meanwhile, we're all going through our own personal things that we don't always share with.
Yeah. Corinne, that is absolutely essential. We have to be able to communicate, and we have to be able to take the risk to be vulnerable, to say, you know what? Maybe let me tell my husband or my partner why this thing bothers me when you have your phone face down. It bothers me because this was a behavior that was displayed in my last relationship, and this is what it turned out to be, right? And so like now we having this conversation, now we're communicating, and now we're creating a space, because vulnerability doesn't just happen because we say it's gonna happen. It happens by, okay, I'm gonna take that risk and tell you about this thing. And the hope is that you'll say, oh, damn, that wasn't my intention.
Yeah. My intention was that we were just talking and I put my phone down, right?
And when you respond like that to me, that tells me, hey, I could give you another piece of me. Because you were gentle with that.
Yeah, oh, you were gentle with that. Okay. So this is kind of like where therapy comes in, because, I'm a fan of big therapy, right? Yeah. So when you work with people, let's say somebody say, "Ooh, this is a great conversation." Hopefully, it is, right?
How can
I need to go to therapy to learn how to be vulnerable? What does that might look like?
That looks like you just showing up and taking a risk, even when everything in you says, "Child, the last time I did this, I got hurt."
Yeah.
Or the last time I gave you a little piece, you weren't gentle with that, and so everything is telling me, "No, don't do it. Run." You don't take the risk, then there's no possibility of us getting closer. There's no possibility of us getting vulnerable. Sometimes people just don't know.
Yeah.
People just don't know, and we really have to teach people how to love us. How else would they know?
Yeah.
And we have to be open to learning how to love the other person too. So what
Yeah.
that means is, let's go sit down in somebody's chair and figure this out.
Yeah.
Like, what's happening? I see the behavior. I see the things that look like erratic or crazy and the things that can't be explained. Let's figure out what's behind this.
Yeah.
Because something is fueling this. And unless we sit down and we process this and we flesh this out, then we're going to keep doing the same thing and getting the same thing. And it feels like, oh, I'm giving my all and I'm into this
And
and
you're
I'm
not doing the work.
showing up and I'm doing the work, and you're not.
Yeah.
And that's not even the true story. The true story is, girl, I don't know you got all of this on your plate. And
Yeah.
vice versa,
Especially
right?
with the strong friend, or, you know.
Especially with the strong friend, and especially with, you know, with like the strong individual.
Yeah.
And particularly when you look at like some cultures, right? And especially with people of color, you know, there's a whole lot of contributing
nother
factors
podcast.
where being vulnerable
Yeah.
isn't always advisable, because it puts us at risk of being further victimized, right? And so when we talk about an intimate relationship, we want to make sure that while we are aware of everything that's happening, that we insulate us to some degree, where we are locked in and we know, listen, you are my person, I'm your person, there's a whole lot happening here that I don't understand and that's getting in between us.
Yeah.
Can you and I team up to figure this out?
Wow.
And that's when we turn to therapy, because sometimes we just don't know.
And how important is it for you to be vulnerable with your therapist? Because being used formal therapy, right? How sometimes I don't always feel like our clients are honest with us, and I know we have clearly built the trust. But how important is it for you to be transparent with your therapist in order for you to get the work to be for the work to be done?
You know what, Corinne? Look here, let me tell the people. You absolutely need to tell your therapist what's happening. Otherwise, you will not get out of it what you need, right? Because if you show up and say, hey, oh, everything is okay, and you don't say the things that are really bothering you, the things that cause your heart to have palpitations, like if you don't really put it out there and put it on the line, then we can't work on it. And you deprive your partner of the ability to show up for you and to give you what you need because you didn't state it. And then on the other side, they can't show up for you, you can't show up for them. And so we don't really have an opportunity to do this thing right because we weren't honest.
Right.
So be honest. You ain't lying to me. Okay?
We know when you're lying.
You're not lying to me. Like, I want to make sure that you get exactly what you need from this, right? And so that either way, because with therapy, you know, sometimes people say, oh, well, I don't want to be honest because for whatever reasons. Like, we have our reasons why we do things.
Right.
But I'll say this. When you're not honest, when you're not open, I never see you, you never see me. And so we could never, ever get to a place where I could really say, I love Corinne. Well, I don't love you, I love my husband, but I love you as a friend.
Yes, we get it.
You know.
And I love you as a friend.
Okay, I don't need Matthew coming around here like, That's what y'all do when I'm out of town.
Oh my god. Yes, we love each other as friends.
We love each other as friends. But seriously though, like, because I can't love you if I don't know you.
Right.
And you can't love me if you don't know me. And when you know there's parts of you that haven't been shared with your partner, there's a part of you that recognizes you don't love me because you don't know me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so let's set each other up for the best possible outcome. Because either way, therapy works. It works. Yeah. Let me tell you why it's a win-win. Number one, either we figure out what's coming in between us and we fix this together, or we know exactly why we can't make it forward and why this wouldn't work.
Because of that, right?
So either way, it's a win-win. Be honest, show up, do the work, and you will walk away with what you need.
Yeah. And I think that's also a great practice too, practicing vulnerability with your therapist, since you're supposed to be here to do the work. That's a big part. Now, we know our past trauma has to do with a lot of why now as adults we are struggling with a lot of things. And I'm big on breaking generational curses or things, unlearning a lot of things we had to unlearn.
Yeah.
How can we teach our children to be vulnerable? For those who have kids, or even if you don't have kids, we all deal with kids at some point. How can we teach our children the future of tomorrow so they're not the way some of us are right now, not open to vulnerability?
Corinne, when I tell you, we could talk that talk, but ultimately we have to show them by example. Meaning, I remember like when I was growing up, there was like certain things that they would say.
Yeah.
Oh
gosh. Yes. We'll find a translation somewhere.
Okay. Which is like pretty much like I'm not apologizing to a child.
Yeah.
Right? And so like there's like certain things that we do, and it's not conducive to a healthy relationship.
Yeah.
And we're actually modeling dysfunction in the relationship that we have with them, which comes back around because eventually you get older and now they're stronger and more agile, and then they want you in a group home because of the relationship that we established and the relationship that we've had, that now they're no longer under your tutelage, right? And so now they can have the relationship with you that you taught them to have. So were you respectful? Were you kind? Did you show up and say sorry when you were?
Oh, that's deep, right? Adults saying sorry to kids. Ooh.
It's absolutely necessary.
Very.
Because those kids turn into adults.
Right.
And then next you have this friend who just will never say sorry. You have this boyfriend or intimate partner who just can't say, you know what, I'm sorry that I said that.
Yeah.
That's not what I meant.
Yeah.
Because that was never modeled, right? And so it's not even... the capacity isn't there because they never learned that skill. And so even like with my kids, listen, if I did something wrong, I will say, hey, mommy is so sorry, I misunderstood.
Yeah.
Can you please forgive me?
Teaching them.
Teaching them. Because this is the expectation that if I am wrong, I can take accountability and I can ask for forgiveness. And that's what I want you to do. And that's what I want done to me. And so when you're wrong, you can tell mommy, hey, this is what it was, mommy is sorry.
Yeah.
These are loving relationships. And when we're in loving relationships, like we are here to teach people how to do better.
Yeah.
We are here to be open to correction, right? Because if not, like when we talk about vulnerability, that's all of it.
It's huge.
I am going to be humble enough to say, you know what, Corinne, I am sorry for the way that I said that. I could have been a little bit more sensitive with the way that I delivered it, and it wasn't my intention to hurt you.
Yeah.
Can you please forgive me?
Yeah, that's true. That communication is huge when it like it's so many steps I'm hearing, right? Make sure you're communicating, make sure you're modeling the behavior, especially when it comes to children, because they do what you do, not what you say. So I know that's something we struggle in our culture growing up, like we don't say sorry to kids don't have a saying, kids don't have a voice, only to grow up with you people are walking all over you, and it's a lot of, and that's how traumas continue. So I love what you said, like making small deposit as adults. Can I trust you to be my safe space? And how important is our love languages when it comes to vulnerability, right? So we know there's the 5 love languages. There's a lot of many, but there's the 5 that we currently focus on mainly. What is your love language?
All the above.
All of the above. Well, we do have all of it. Okay. What are the strong ones?
But seriously though, like, so one of the things that I do with my couples, right? Anytime I get a couple, whether they're coming in for, infidelity recovery, communication, intimacy, or whatever it is, one of the things that I do with all of my, or premarital, what I do with all of my couples is I do a relationship assessment. So the relationship assessment gives me insight on the relationship so that I know what your areas of weaknesses are, what your areas of strengths are. We all have different needs, and we all like to be loved differently. My husband's love language is go into a game. Okay, anything UM related, that's his love language. If I want to love this man, let him watch his game in peace.
Go to the games with him.
Go to the games with him. You understand? Like, that's his love language. Okay, his love language is that,
and that's not much.
And that's not much, right? I'm like, okay. And me showing up for your love, like, because when we talk about self-care, I'm talking about self-care in a relationship, caring for you, caring for me,
right?
And so if I'm like, okay, this is the way that I can show him that I love him, because this is the thing that he loves, and it's his way to decompress, to de-stress. There's memories that are tied to this, right? He grew up in Miami, and just the nostalgia and all of that, right? So it's not just, I may be like, boy, that's a whole lot of hours to be watching this game. I ain't got no 5-6 hours to be here.
Right.
But okay, but this is something that I can do to show him I care.
Yeah.
So within that, what parameters can I set up to make sure that while meeting his need and speaking into what he needs, that I'm also being authentic to me? Babe, can we get some box seats?
I don't want to be with the people.
Listen, if I have to be here 5-6 hours, like
I need to be comfortable.
Okay, can we be comfortable? Listen, we can do the tailgating. I will come before. Okay, I just need box seats and some popcorn, and we good, right? And so, like, being true, right? Because if you're doing something and it severely is in disalignment or not in alignment with you, then that's not gonna be sustainable, right? Because I'm gonna go and I'm gonna complain. And so, being honest, how can I show up for you, and can you help me to show up for you this way, right? And so, like, when we talk about love languages, knowing your partner to know what they need. My love language is flowers. Okay. Like, I love
that. Sounds like
flowers.
Gifts. I think
gifts, right? So gifts. So the sports would be like quality time, right?
Yeah.
Like, if we're gonna put a name on it, so that would be like quality time. Mine would be gifts, right? Like, now that I think of it, I got that from my mom. But
there you go. Light bulb.
There you go. And so, gifts, like, that lets me know that
you love me, you care.
You love me, you're thinking about me, I was on your mind, right? That's how I want to receive it. And so when we're talking about love language, it's not about how you want to give it, because it's not meant for you. It's meant for me to pour into you in the way that you need. Because he might say, well, I pay the bills and I work.
Yeah.
That's my love language right there.
Yeah. I mean, it is.
Right? And that is
act of service.
Act of service, because that is his love language, right? But mine might not be the right. Receivable. And so, what is it that my partner needs, right? And how can I show up to give it to you in the way that you need? I like quality time too. Spend time together, right? Like, so can we do something? Can we go walking together? Like, it doesn't have to be like this, big old grand thing, but that's what I need, right? And so, showing up in giving your couple, giving the individual, giving your partner, your husband, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, whomever, child, your cat. Maybe your cat just don't want to be bothered. Can you, like, leave me in the corner?
Yeah, that's cat for you. Cats have no emotions, from what I'm told.
Okay, listen, like, they ain't playing with y'all, okay? They got y'all in stitches. Right, maybe your dog is like, look here, like, can you just let me, like, lick your little toes or whatever? Or give me some of your food. And so it's showing up for that person in the way that they want to receive it, not in the way that you want to give it.
Okay, I love that.
Because it's a mismatch.
Showing up for it. All right. So, Sandra, thank you so much. But one more thing. You all know that's my favorite part of Self-Care with Tika. That is our simple self-care segment, which is also your favorite part that a lot of you have been saying. So stay tuned. Go grab your cup, put your coffee on or your tea, whatever that you're drinking. Come back on the couch and let's sip some self-care with us.
Cheers.